Andy Purewell for Boxing News, joined by Richie Woodhall here in Liverpool. Richie, it's good to see you. Let's just work through some of these fights. Nick Ball eventually breaking down TJ Doheny. What did you make of that main event?
I thought it was a tricky fight. You know, he had to show a different side to his boxing tonight, Nick Ball. He had to think about it in a different way against a tricky opponent, to someone who's very experienced, a former world champion, and for long periods of the fight made it really awkward. So you know, he got to him eventually, but it wasn't an easy night. And I was impressed with the challenger, how brave he was as well. But Nick Ball got the job done, and he'll learn from that. You know, it's not going to be a classic case of every fight you're just going to steamroll the opponent. And I think they know that, and Paul Stevenson knew that as well. I was listening to him in the corner. He's a clever man and a good coach, so it was a good overall. You know, he's got the victory. It's the main thing.
A lot of talk about the end of that first round, the kick out. What do you make of that? Was, in hindsight, should that have been a point off? Should it have been a disqualification? What do you think?
Well, if you watch it, obviously TJ Doheny is he's a clever kid, you know, and he holds on to him a little bit longer than what he should I say. Yeah, I think Nick shouldn't have reacted the way he did. I was actually thought that a point was going to be taken off. I think the ref was probably a little bit lenient, but I think he could see two sides of the argument, where TJ was playing his part, and then the reaction from Nick was a little bit disappointing, but he was frustrated. So I think the referee sorted it in the end, but I did thought that a point was going to be deducted, but there you go.
Beluta versus Strand, what were your thoughts on that?
I thought that the judges got it wrong. I thought it was a really good display from Strand. I thought he boxed really clever, but obviously that front foot pressure is what swayed it for some of the judges, but not for me, mate. I thought it was a clever display. I thought he picked his shots really well. I think Beluta, obviously, there's volume of punches was from Beluta, but not a lot was getting home. So I thought it was a good display from Strand. I think he's desperately unlucky. I thought he won the fight.
Javier Herrera in a very entertaining fight tonight, but did that just kind of show people that he needs a bit more time before he keeps talking about the likes of Shakur Stevenson? Yeah,
he does need a bit more time, but what it does show you tonight as well is he didn't really give the opponent much respect, you see, and the opponent was, is it Messias? Yeah. So his opponent was a strong, tough kid, nowhere near the level in terms of talent to Herrera. But, you know, he's game, and if you take him too lightly, he's going to get close and he's going to whip shots over the top. I just think that because there wasn't that respect there, people were talking about him and say Shakur Stevenson. Now, if he fights Shakur Stevenson, he's not going to fight like that. He'll fight with a lot more caution and respect. He just probably took it too lightly, and it just goes to show you when you're in against a Mexican who I think he's ranked about number 10, something like that. Out of 400 and odd in his weight in Mexico, he's ranked in the top 10. So that just shows you, anyone in the top 10 in Mexico, in any weight division, is probably good enough to fight for a world title, because they're tough. And I think I got the right kid anyway. It's Messias, isn't it? Yeah, I think he's the tough Mexican. So yeah, I just think he took him a little bit too lightly. Loads of skills. And I was listening to Joe McNally in the corner, who wasn't happy with him at all, because he was saying, look, you're better than this. So he knows the talent of the kid and how good the kid is. And yes, he got caught with some silly shots because he didn't give the opponent probably the respect he deserved.
Richie, this is the last of Queensberry and TNT working together for now, at least. I don't know if something might happen down the line. Have you had any confirmation about how things might move moving forwards in terms of Edda's own deal? Will you continue on the punditry side? I know Eddie Hearn and Matchroom have had a big say in how they want things done for their shows. Frank, has he said anything?
No, I haven't had anything really. I'm doing the odd one for Box Nation now. But in terms of TNT going forward, listen, I hope it's going to continue. But yeah, this is the last one officially. So any jobs going at your place?
There's always got jobs going out of place, Richie, so I'll put a word in for you. But whilst I've got you, Eubank Ben, what's your take on it, April 26th?
I think it's a good fight. I just think that Eubank's probably naturally the bigger man, and he's probably the favourite. I think Conor Benn, you know, he's more or less a welterweight. He's the one that's really stepping up in weight, isn't he? So I think it'll be tougher for him than it will be for Eubank. I think Eubank's a slight favourite. It's a great fight. Obviously, their fathers, all the history, we all know about it. I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be really explosive. But I'd probably Eubank, I think, is a favourite just because he's naturally the bigger man. But it's got the makings of a cracking fight.
A lot of talk, Richie, about an Usyk-Dubois rematch. If we were to see that, do you think Daniel will right the wrongs of the first fight and have his hand raised, or do you think it'll be repeat once again?
I think it's a really good fight. I think Daniel knows what he's got to do now. It's just up to him to do it. But you know how good Usyk is. He'll probably raise his game and go up another level. Who knows? But in that first fight, I think Daniel definitely hurt him a couple of times to the body. He doesn't like those body shots. And I think in that first fight, Daniel now knows what he's got to do. Be a little bit more aggressive, go for Usyk, put him under a lot of pressure, and you never know. Daniel's young, he's strong, and he can punch. In the heavyweight division, anything can happen. So, good luck to him. Let's hope he does it.
That's one from me, Richie. Two men well fought in Saudi recently, Callum Smith and Joshua Buatsi. Eddie Hearns recently said that they had talks about Callum Smith potentially facing one of Benavidez or David Morrell next. How would you rate Callum's chances against one of Benavidez or Morrell?
I think he's in with a great chance of beating either of them. I think they're tough fights, but you know what? Going into that Buatsi fight, I probably had Buatsi a slight favourite there. But Callum Smith just shows you, for a tall man, he's one of the best fighters on the inside. For a guy who's 6'3", he's exceptionally good on the inside. His left hooks, the technique in his work, he's really, really good, really impressive. That's probably the fight of the year for me at the moment, Smith and Buatsi. Going forward, it's just how much that's left in Callum. But yeah, let's give him, he deserves those fights, those real big, massive nights, and he's in with a shout of beating either of them.
Richie, I appreciate your time. I'm sure I'll see you back soon. Thanks for speaking to me in Boxing News.
Nice one, Andy. Cheers.
Cheers, Richie.